Then, why rice is important? It's amazing important. Why we are considering about the rice cultivation? Then
Slow like field.
yeah, that's you have to use those contour lines. Yes, the contour lines in that upcountry areas we are cultivating paddy. Okay, then what are the research institutes related to the paddy? Name some research institute. Yes, what are those?
Battalakoda. Mabuduwa. Ambalangoda.
What is IRRI?
International Rice Research Institute.
Where it's located?
Philippines.
Yes. Then okay. So now we are considering about the yield component of rice. Why? What's the purpose we are considering to the yield component of rice? But in which is the economic part of rice? Yes. Okay, name some parts of rice. The seedling stage, what are the special parts in the rice, the paddy? What about the roots? Fibrous root, and they are. Did you study about the morphology? No. Yes. Then roots. Then after the roots, then there are tillers. Tillers, no? What is tillers? What is tillers? It's the producing tillers, paddy producing tillers. It's a right statement or wrong? There's a true or false. Paddy produce tillers. True. Then now there's a question. One variety of paddy approximately producing 10 tillers. Assume 10 tillers. And the same 10 effective tillers. At the same time, another variety producing 5 tillers. Which one is the best? Which one you are going to choose?
First one.
First one. Why? They are producing high number of
Tillers.
Effective productive tillers. Yes, you have to consider the tillers number is not only the matter. There you have to consider about the effective tillers. That should be well developed, and that should be producing the panicles. Yes, what is panicle? What is panicle? When the rice is inflorescence. In this, what are the parts in this? What are the parts which you can see in the panicle? What are the parts? Cyclets. Then there's the one leaf special. We are naming one leaf. What's the leaf? Which is determine the growth and the productive and the yield component of rice. Name the leaf. Special black leaves. Then, other than that, in the morphology, but then do you know about the lingual auricle? Yes or no? Did you study it in the theory parts? Yes. Then I want to ask one question. Yes. Normally, in the aerobic condition, if you are growing crop, a plant in the waterless condition, it will damage, it will lost, it will die due to the fungal growth or the high waterless condition. Rot will be there, so that's not be survived normally. But why that paddy can survive in the waterless condition? That's a special character of paddy. It's a special structure that paddy have to grow in the waterless condition, the rape pit culture. What is it? Yes. Do you get my question? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you understand my question or I want to repeat? Hmm? Normally, in the waterless condition or in the flooded condition, we will lost our crop. If we are growing one crop, it will sudden rain in the waterless in the field, we will lost it crop normally because due to the high moisture conditions or fungal growth or rot, we are lost our crop. But the paddy can grow in the parts of in the rice panicle. Yes, we will have the presentation. You can understand. Students answer for my questions. What are the parts of spikelets? How did you study parts of spikelets? Hmm?
We studied the first practical, ma'am.
Okay. Then theory you don't. You didn't.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Not yield component of rice. Before that, you want to know what are the parts. Yes, for the rice, what are the economic part? What are the parts which determine the yield component? Why it impact on the yield? Okay. Then, as we already discussed, rice belongs to that family or Poaceae, and the botanical name Oryza sativa. Then there are in the inflorescence that's called as panicle. In the panicle, there are spikelets. Then in the spikelets, there are parts. Yes, that's female parts, which mean that ovary stigma and the filament. Other than that, you can see the structure. We will study in the morphology class. Then number of panicles per given area. Then now you are in the key point of the practical. What are the parameters which determine the yield component, yield of the rice? The first one is number of panicle per given area. Number of panicle per given area in a area in 1 meter square. How many number of panicles? Yes. Then percentage of filled spikelets per panicle. In the panicle, there are a number of spikelets. Yes, there are a number. Nearly, it's assume if it is 100. Yes, in the 100, there are some are in the good condition, which means the filled one. Yeah, other than that, rest of the spikelet will not fill fully. Yes, unfilled. So that, but the yield will be determined by the percentage of filled spikelets per panicle and 1000 grains weight. What is 1000 grain weight? What do you understand by the 1000 grain weight? What is that? That is 1000 grain weight. Anyone? What is 1,000 grain weight? 2020 AG 90. 2020 AG 90. 90. What is 1,000 grain weight? What do you understand by weight? Yes? Weight of the 1,000 paddy grain. Yes? 1,000, yeah. Here you have to count 1,000 grain, and the weight of the 1,000 grains is called as 1,000 grain weight. Then these are the yield component. Yes, these are the parameters. So or otherwise we can tell these are the factors we determine the yield component of rice. Okay. What are the determining factors of rice yield? What are those? Anyone? What are the factors? What are the parameters? Per given area. Then that's the first one. Second one, field spikelets. Yes. Yeah, 1,000 grains weight. 1,000 grain, their weight. That's for the 1,000 grain weight. Then what is this? What is this? Inflorescence. That's called panicle. In here, yes, you can see it's a flag leaf. Yes, the flag leaf means the leaves which next to the panicle, that erect one. That should be, that in a slight angle with the panicle, like straight one, somewhat straight compared to other leaves. That's the last leaf near to the panicle. Sorry, that's the first leaf near to the panicle, and that's the last leaf from the plant. From bottom of the plant, that's the last leaf. We can understand. We can identify by its appearance. It's like a erect one. Yes. Then in the panicle, did you see that spikelets? Yes. Yes or no? What are those? What is this? They are the spikelets. In the spikelets, yes, this is the main one, which means the primary branch. That this is in the panicle. This is the primary one. In the primary one, the secondary branch will be there. So in the primary and the secondary spikelets will be formed. Then that's a panicle base and the uppermost internode. That's the last internode from the plant. Okay. So what is this? This is the panicle. The inflorescence of paddy. Then normally this what you see, no, in the field. This the below the soil, and then what are the leaves here? What are those leaves? That flag leaves. How can you difference between the other leaves? That's a special character. That is somewhat erect and the uppermost leaf near to the panicle. Yes, these are the panicle. So now you want to tell whether the following statement whether is strong or bold. Yes. Then the question is, the plant, the paddy plant can produce one panicle per plant. It is true or false? Paddy can produce one panicle per plant.
False.
False.
Yes.
Then if the number of panicle increase, what will be happen for the yield?
Yield will be increased.
Increase. Then the question is how we can so if you are increasing the panicle numbers, there is a chance to increase the yield, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then how you can increase the panicle? For that, what structure will form the panicle? How we can increase the panicle?
By
Increase the number of
increasing the tillers.
Yeah, by increasing the tillers. Yes, because if the plant having the habit of producing the high number of productive tillers or the effective tillers, they can produce panicle. Then from the panicle, there are high number of spikelets. Then from that yield ultimately increase. Got it?
Yes.
So then my first question. So my question is, what is the how you can increase the rice yield? What are the ways to increase the rice yield? Other than the management practices like that, by up to the discussion, how you can increase the rice yield? By selecting one variety, what are the characters we have to look? That should be produced. The variety should be produced. High number of
Effective tillers.
Then from the effective tillers, there are high number of panicle formation. By that high number of panicle formation, there will be a chance to getting. Wait a minute. In the spikelets, we will study in the future in the parts by cross section of spikelets. While opening the spikelets, what are the parts are there? Yes? Yes or no? Shall I move to the next? Yes. Then in this picture, clearly shown about the panicle. In the panicle, these are the spikelets. Yes, these are the spikelets. Then okay. What is primary and secondary? Can you if we place a picture like this, can you indicate the secondary branch and the primary branch? Can you? Yes or no? Yes, that's from the main one. The branch are grown from the main things. That's called as primary. From the primary, if the branch are developed, that's called as the secondary branch. Both primary and secondary both can have spikelets are there. Okay, then panicle and spikelets. So while considering the yield, you want to know what is panicle, what is spikelets, then what is tillers, what is 1000 grain weight. The terminal component of rice tiller is an inflorescence called as panicle. In the tiller, in the rice, there are tillers, number of tillers. The terminal component of the tiller is called as panicle. The panicle is borne onto the uppermost internode of the curve. So that panicle can develop from the upper node internode. Upper node internode means they are the last internode of the plant. From that, the panicle will be there. Then after, there is no growth of leaves. The panicle bears spikelets, most of which developed into grain. In the panicle, there are a number of spikelets. From that, there will be a chance to fully fill and partially fill or unfill. Yes or no? Yes, in the spikelets there will be filled one and that unfilled one. In the that filled one will develop into grain that called as grain. Other than that unfilled one, chaffy one, we are while we are harvesting, it will be lost due to the wind because that's low in weight, no, and low in moisture condition. So that will be lost. These spikelets are more borne to the primary and secondary branches. So the spikelets can produce both primary and the secondary branches. So do everyone clear with these five statement? Everyone clear? The five statement, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. It is clear to all? Yes. Yes. Then what's the first point? That yield component of rice, that inflorescence will be produced in the tiller, and the uppermost internode of it from that the panicle will be rice. In the panicle there are spikelets. Spikelets, in the spikelet there will be a chaffy one and the filled one, fully filled one. We want to consider about the fully filled one. Then in the spikelets that can produce in the primary and secondary branches that can consist of pedicel and florescent. These parts you will be studying. Then, so these are the three equations you have to memorize considering the yield. So first one, yield number of spikelets per unit area, which means the meter cube. For the meter, for 1 meter cube, how many number of spikelets? And that's component into 1000 grain weight. And then after that into filled spikelet percentage. So this is the final equation. Yes, yield equals to number of spikelets over meter squared, then 1000 grain weight over 1000. For converting into 1000 grain weight over 1000, then that won't multiply with the filled spikelets percentage. So there are three components: first component, second component, third component. In the first component, yes, for the calculating yield, there are component 1, component 2, component 3. So the first component, yes, number of spikelets per meter cube. For that, there's the equation. So that's equal. Number of spikelets per meter cube is equal number of spikelets per panicle. In one panicle, how many of spikelets? Yes. Then that's into number of panicle per meter square. For 1 meter square, how many number of panicle? That's for this component, we have to multiply with number of spikelets in one panicle. In one panicle, how many spikelets are there? Then fill spikelets percentage. So that in the spikelet already we discussed, there are a chaffy one and there are a filled one. So the filled percentage can be determined by total minus chaffy. If it is 1000 total, chaffy is 500. We have to reduce 1000 minus 500. Then over total spikelets. Total spikelets mean 1000. Then that should be for the percentage, that should be multiplied with 100. Okay? Yes or no? Three equations. These are the three important equations to calculate the yield component of rice. Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, I want your response on the chat box. Here we discussed about three parameters, no? Three factors which can determine the yield, no? What are the three factors? What are the three factors?
Number of panicle.
Yeah, number of panicle per meter squared. Then
1000 grain weight.
1000 grain weight and
Percentage of filled spikelets.
percentage of filled spikelets. Then normally in here we discussed about three. First one is number of panicle per meter squared and number of spikelet per panicle, isn't it? Yes or no? Number of spikelets per panicle, isn't it? So here we discussed about the filled one, but that yield there are one factor more. That's why I come to here discussed again. Number of panicle per given area, percentage of filled spikelets per panicle, and 1000 grain weight. And in between these two, then we have to consider number of spikelets in the panicle. Yes, that also can determine, no? If the spikelets are producing in high number in the panicle, then ultimately the yield is high, isn't it? Yes or no? So if we are asking three factors, you can write these three. If you are asking, mention the factors like that, you want to write that number of panicle, number of spikelets per panicle. Got it? So now, what are the yield component of name 4 yield component or 4 yield determining factor of rice? What are those?
Number of panicles per given area.
Per given area, then
Percentage of filled spikelets.
yes.
Number of spikelets per panicle.
Yeah, that's the third points you told, no? That should become, if you are telling in the order, that should become as second one. Yes? Got it?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Then, now we move on calculations. Yes? This is the question 1. So this the simplest question. I will upload one assignment you have to do, and while you are coming here, you have to submit. Okay? In the A4 sheet, white sheet, you can use both side of the paper. Then I will upload that question coming weeks. While you are coming here, you have to come with that calculation assignment. Okay? Clear? So, there are, in this question, they were displayed about nearly 4 variety. BG 360, BG 406, then BG 362, and BG 364. So, can you tell what is BG? Battalagoda, which means that variety released from Battalagoda. Then, by having the number, there's a hint. By having the number, we can guess the maturity period. Yes, normally not all the varieties. Yes, that's not applicable for all the varieties. But if the name start, if the number 360, that hint, but you can't use in all the questions. Yes, there are some variety expect to this rule. Then, excluding these rules, there are some variety, but nearly 80% of variety. So yes, first the first letter, if it is BG 360, that maturity period will near 3 to 3.5 months. Yes, if it is 4, nearly 4 months to 4.5 months. Got it? But that's not applicable for all the varieties. There are some exceptions. But nearly 80% by having the number, the first number. If it is 3, nearly 3 to 3.5 months or 3.5 to 4 months, like that. Normally 3 to 3.5 months. Got it? Clear? So in the 4 variety, first column was displayed about the variety, then second column, number of panicle per meter square. So there's one component we get, number of panicle per meter square. To calculating the yield, we have one first parameter, number of panicle per meter cube. Then next parameter, number of spikelets per panicle. How many panicle? How many spikelets in one panicle? Yes, that is the second parameter. Third one, filled crates, filled spikelets. Then fourth one, 1,000 grain weight. Yes. So normally, if the factors are 4, these are the 4 factors: number of panicle per meter squared, number of spikelets per meter squared, and filled spikelets, and 1,000 grain weight. Then now you have to calculate the yield. Can you? Can you? Can you? Yes. Then quickly calculate the yield. So can you do the yield? Can you calculate the yield? Yes. So first, within 5 minutes, you can calculate that variety yield of BG 360. If you are finished early, I can wind up the class early. Yes, because that calculation, initial things, you have to know only the fact, real fact. Then, if there is modification question, if you understand, you can do. Yes, I want to know the answers through the chat box. Yes, if you are finishing, you can send a message of the yield with a variety. Yes, okay. Any of you did? The yield, yes, there is. I can get some check. Yeah, correctly. You calculate that yield is 5 in the ton, 5.95 ton megaton per hectare, metric ton per hectare. If it is gram, 595.74. Correct? Do I need to repeat this, or shall I move? Yes or no? Way we have to do. I don't need now, or do I need to repeat?
No need, ma'am.
No needs. Yes, first we want to calculate about the number of spikelets per meter cube. Then after yield. In yield there are three components. 1000, that grain weight should be divided by the 100 and filled grain percentage, and number of spikelets per meter squared. Then for the number of spikelets per meter square, we have to calculate by having the equation number of spikelets per panicle and number of panicle per meter square. So that's the first one. Then second, did you do the second one as a answer for the BG 406? 406, what's the answer? Yes, if anyone get like this. Yeah, some of the students get right. So that's your wish, whether you are displaying the gram or meter. Sometimes while for the theory, for the practical written, for the 50 marks, this question, or for the 50 marks, maize, yield component of maize. So the practical component, because these things we will teach you a little, that simple one, but for the examination, somewhat there are trickiness, so somewhat hard. So for the second question, the correct answer is 632.24 gram per meter square. Got it, and everyone? Shall I move to the next? Yes or no? Shall I move to the rest? Next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And if anyone not understanding, you can tell to repeat again. Yes, if you are not getting this here answer. Then, because I have a plenty of chat box messages are there with the correct answer, that's why I move. Okay. Then BG 362. 362. What's the answer? Yes, correct. That also correct. There are a lot of, yes, correct. 2020 AG. So they are giving in both way, in the gram and metric ton, correct? Yes. Then the thing, there's a one message I got in the rounded number. If that's normally, if you're going to round it, that like yield, that should be at least you have to give 2 digits after the decimal. That should be 2. If it is 735, you can change into 0.74. We are expecting 2 digits. Yes, after the point, that should be 2 digits. Okay. Then, for the next variety, BG 364. What is the yield? Yes. Yes, correct. So that if it is 456.843, you can cut the 3 and you can convert into 84. But we are not advisable to round up for 1 digit. That should be at least 2 digits. Yes. For the previous question, one student sent 507 like that. We are not expecting. At least you have to round up for the 2 digits. Okay, 2 decimal. Correct? Got it? What I told?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then now we have to look in one other parameter. This is the exercise question. So this question in here for the practical writing, yes, you have to only know, you have to only write what are the yield in the title, yield component of rice. Then after, what are the yield component? What are the yield component? There are 4 or otherwise 3. Then after the first calculation, the practicing calculation, you have to write. Then after, in the discussion part, you have to do the question 2. Yes. So there are 4 variety. We displayed about the number of panicles, number of spikelets, and number of chaffy one. Yes. Number of chaffy one per panicle. Per panicle. How many number of chaffy one and 1000 grain weight. So can you calculate the yield? It is easy. So there's one parameter, number of panicle per meter square. Then, but how many numbers of spikelet per panicle, you know? Then at the time for the filling percentage, now here they are giving the chaffy one. So for the from the total panicle, you have to redact the chaffy one, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can you do? Hmm? Yes? For the exercise, you can do. So for first you are right. For the A1, can you calculate? For the A1 only, if you are calculating A correctly, rest of BCD, you can calculate in the discussion and you can submit. With the assignment, you can submit. Okay? Yes? For the A, may I get the yield in the chat box? Silakan. Yes, got it? How many of you got this answer? Oh, the last one, check that calculation. 2020 AG 036, 38. 38. Sami, who's that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's somewhat, I think in the calculation, so to multiply, you got some error. Do you find that?
Yes, ma'am.
Then now it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then other one's message correctly. And yes, no, other one's okay. Okay. So in this question, first of all, you have to calculate number of spikelets per meter square. Then after from the chaffy, we already gave that number of chaffy one. From that you have to calculate the filled grains. Then after you have to convert into yield. Got it? Yes? Everyone, do I need to repeat? So I will ask some. AG044.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Until now you are clear?
Yes, ma'am.
34? 34.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? Yes? Or do I need to repeat? If anyone having doubt? Nihara? 83.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear?
Yes.
Yes. Then 130 Prashanthani.
Yes.
Yes, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then Vishmi Imasha. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I can move to the next, no? Yes?
Yes.
Then here, tillers. We will talk about the tillers. By increasing the number of tillers, we can also increase the yield. So tillers. Yes, here. This is the main one. In the picture, this is the main one. These are the tillers. Yes, primary tillers. From the primary, it emerging the secondary tillers. The primary from the primary, the secondary will be emerged. Yes, this is the primary. From the primary, secondary tillers are there. Then tertiary tillers, which mean the next level. First one primary will form, then after secondary will form, then third one to call as the tertiary tillers. Then tillers. What is tillers? The seedlings will grow and develop branched tillers. The parts of rice tillers include the roots, clumps, and leaves. Mature roots of rice plants are fibrous and produce smaller roots called as rootlets. So yes, there are fibrous roots, but at the same time there are smaller roots that are called as rootlets. Tillers, there are primary, secondary, tertiary. From the primary, it produces from the main one. Then from the primary, the secondary will be formed. From the secondary or the small next third production of tillers called as tertiary. In here, that's the other equation for calculating yield. So these things already we discussed now, number of panicle, then grain weight. Like the previous one, there are 3 components. Like that, here there are 4 components. Number of productive tillers per meter square. For the meter square, how many productive tillers will be 4? And number of panicle for productive tillers. In the productive tillers, in one productive tillers, how many number of panicles will be there? Yes. Then a grain weight. Here we are calculating a grain weight, which means the grain weight. Then number of filled grain per panicle. For the panicle, how many filled grains? So by having this equation, there are 4 parameters. For the previous one, without tillers, without considering tillers, that previous one is simple one. There are 3 components. Then from the 3 components, 1000 grain weight, number of panicle, and for the one panicle, how many spikelets? Like that, there for the previous one we did. Here, tillers. For the tillers, first of all, we have to know per meter squared, how many tillers are there? In 1 meter squared, how many tillers are there? Then, in the productive tillers, how many number of panicles are there? In 1 productive tillers, how many number of panicles? It will be 10 or 5, like that. In productive tillers, how many number of panicles? Then, here we will not considering over the spikelets. Yes, so that's why grain weight. So we are multiply by 1000 grain weight. Here grain weight and number of filled grains. In Panicle, how many number of filled grains? So the productive tillers can be get in other way. Number of tillers, normal total number of tillers in the land and number of unproductive tillers. So while doing calculation, these terminology, whether it's a productive or unproductive, you have to clear. And that Panicle and field one, chaffy one they are giving or field one we are giving, that's thing you have to consider. Yes. Then number of filled grain panicle. Number of filled grain panicle means total number of grains of a panicle. In one panicle, how many number of grains minus number of unfilled grains per panicle. Yes, like the previous one. From the total, there are total one. In the total, there are chaffy one or unfilled one. So for getting the filled one, you have to deduct from the total grains. Total minus unfilled one is equal to number of filled per panicle. Yes. Then third question. Here we will discuss about the one variety. So can you note this? Because for the calculation you have to know this. Quickly write down. Just note it down and calculate the yield for the BG variety BG 406. What about the next group? Their class was finished or not?
No,
Finished?
no, miss.
No, until the English is going.
Yes, miss.
Okay, okay. Then do this calculation. So may I get the answers through the chat box? Yes. AG010, AG50, AG46, correct? There's others. Yes, 106, correct. And 116, Vishmi, correct. Yes, Purmi, correct. Yes. $44, correct. But the thing is, consider about the units. Yes, 54, correct. Some Zero 16. 16. 020. 020. Hundred and six, 156, AG 156. Clear? Sindhuja Bale. Yes or no? Yes or no? Clear? If you are telling the correct response, so okay, we can wind up. I'll wind up within 5 minutes. Clear? Because these things are important for the practical. So I will wind. ഇതിൽ ജോയിൻ പഠിച്ചോളൂ. 11:45 തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ சொல்லுங்க. நான் 5 நிமிஷம் கூட ஜாயின் படிச்சோம்.
Okay.
Okay.